Let's start with Lane Michael White, who has been accused of bringing in the bullet. He's accompanied by Ryan White, the father. Ryan was there when the incident happened, and he was also accompanied by the mother, Eloisa Zoleta. She was also there when it happened. And later on subsequent events, the brother of Eloisa, Arthur Zoleta, was also there when it happened. I will ask Lane to narrate, but Ryan, Eloisa, and Arthur, at any point in time, if you wish to add or if you wish to talk, please do so. Jump right in. Kanina po kasi kausap ko si Lane sa opisina ko, and it was very clear that the boy is very traumatized. So I think the father and the mother will recount, but also Lane will recount. But first off, let me ask Ryan, what brought you here to the Philippines? Please state your name again and where you come from.
Michael Ryan White, and we moved here from Florida.
And why did you come to the Philippines? Just for the general knowledge.
We came to start a missionary trip to preach in the streets of Coron.
A missionary trip?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Until this happened. Now our plans are on hold.
I understand you sold all your... may I ask some quiet, please? I understand that you sold your belongings in the States?
Yes, sir. That was the only way to finance this trip. We had to sell everything we had and then just trust solely on God to help us.
You sold everything you had so that you could come to the Philippines and go to Coron, Palawan, to start a church? Am I correct?
Well, not necessarily. I'm not called to be a pastor. I'm a preacher. And I know there's some overlap there, but a preacher goes into the streets and preaches the gospel to any and all who will listen. A pastor acts more as a shepherd. And if there's enough of a following, then we would teach and train someone who would stand up to actually lead the flock as a pastor.
Okay, so when did you arrive to the Philippines?
September 16th? No, 14th. 13th. It's been a long 2 months. September 13th.
September 13th. Please recount what happened then. Eloisa?
We went all the way from the United States. We came from Jacksonville, Florida. Then we went to New York, and after New York we went to China. And when we got here to the Philippines, we stayed at my mother's house for a day and a half. And then we went straight to Terminal 4 for our domestic flight to Coron. And that day, when we got to the airport, the flight was delayed for 2 hours. And the pilot, while we're inside the plane, the pilot said that due to flight restrictions, we need to get out of the plane and rebook the flight the next day. So, nakarating na po kami sa loob ng Terminal 4. Naayos na po nila yung nakapag-check-in na kami. Na-screen na po yung bagahe namin sa same screening process. Pinadala lang po kami sa hotel that night. At pagkadating po sa hotel the next morning, bumalik po kami sa Terminal 4 with the same flight at sa initial screening. Then that's when it all started.
Okay, please recount what started. Maybe Michael, you want to talk? Or if you don't feel like talking, then anyway, Eloisa, you were there. Go ahead. If you feel like talking.
It all started when we were bound to a flight to Coron, Busuanga. I put my bag through the X-ray machine, and they said that they didn't say. Sorry, that's fine. Miss Sina and Mr. Garcia instructed me to bring my bag back through the X-ray screen another 2 times. So that's 3 times total.
You said Sina and Garcia. You mean Maria Elma Sena and Marvin Garcia, stated in your affidavit. Yes?
Yes, sir. And then
Okay, go ahead.
What happened was when his luggage went to the X-ray screen, all the security personnel were on the machine and they were looking at the screen. Doon na po sinabi sa kanya na may nakita daw po sa bagay niya. Pero hindi po pinakita yung X-ray sa amin. Hindi din po sinabi kung ano. Sabi lang po meron daw pong nakita. So, pinaikot po yung bagahe. Then, after that, nilapitan po namin si Miss Senya. Sabi ko po, ano po ba yung hinahanap nyo? Kasi baka po alam namin kung ano yung hinahanap nyo, tulungan na po namin kayo. And then, sinabi na, no, you guys need to stand back and don't touch the luggage. Yun daw po yun ang pagkakasabi niya. So, kami po kasi sa Amerika, pag sinabi po ng isang airport official to do something, kailangan po namin sundin kasi po sila po ang official sa airport. So, dun po sa end ng conveyor, nandun lang po kami nakatayo sa dulo while they were looking at our luggages. Ang sunod po nangyari, tumawag po yung brother ko, si Arthur Soleta po. And then he was checking on me because I'm pregnant and I'm with 2 foreign people. Nag-aalala po siya about our security. So, sinabi ko po na, kuya, meron pong nakita sa bagay namin, pero hindi nila sinabi kung ano. And then my brother said, I think you better be alert and turn on your cam. So, I did turn on my cam. It wasn't hidden. It was actually in my kilikili because there's a tripod and a cam, and I can't hold it with my hand because I have my cell phone on the right and passports and boarding pass on the left. Boarding pass kasi nga po, napikita na po kami kahapon pa, nung hapon pa lang, the day before that. Well, anyways, I turned on the cam, and then yun na po yung video na nakita nyo sa media po, na pinaikot-ikot po nila yung bagahe namin sa conveyor. So, the fact na hindi nyo po nakikita dun sa video namin is yung first part po, kasi hindi po naka-on yung camera ko. Pero kung mapapansin nyo po, sa umpisa po ng mga CCTV na lumabas, before po lumabas yung video namin, tinignan na po ni Miss Senya yung outer flap ng luggage nila yun, kung saan po nakita yung alleged ammunition. So when you saw the CCTV, tinignan niya na po, wala po siya nakita. Then may nilabas pa rin pong CCTV na sila naman po yung tumingin din dun sa same flap, wala din siya nakita. And then, yung lumabas na yung video namin, which is last part po nung pangyayari, dun po, pinasok po ni Miss Senya yung kamay niya, chinek na din po yung flap na yun. Tapos, inikot po ni Marvin sa X-ray. Then, when it came out, dun na po ako tinawag sa X-ray screen and they said na, tingnan mo, may bala. So, dun na po yung sa huli. Kaya po yun ang pinagtatakhan namin. Kung meron po kayong access ng CCTV po nila, makikita nyo po yung full stretch of the video that they already looked on the flap of that luggage. Miss Maria Elma Senya looked at it and she didn't find it in there. And I thought that was her job na as an inspector, hindi po ba, na dapat sa umpisa pa lang po, kung dun po niya nakita nung huli, sa umpisa pong beses, sana po nakita niya na. Bukod pa po dun, nung nakita na nga pong may bala, nagsasabi na po ako na ano po bang mangyayari, kailangan ko na po bang ipamove yung flight namin. Because it's like 15 minutes and we're about to board, going to Coron. So, sabi po ako ng sabi na, papamove ko po ba yung flight or ano po ba? Sabi po ng mga screening officers, ay okay lang yan, madali lang yan. And even on our video, Miss Maria Elma Senya said, 12:45 pa naman. So I'm thinking, if it is really the law na may nakitang 1 ammo sa luggage, then hindi po ba dapat ang sagot sa akin, ay hindi na po kayo tutuloy sa Coron kasi ikukulong namin ang anak mo. Hindi po ba dapat ganun? Kasi yun naman po, kung yun po ang pinapatupad nila. Pero hindi po, sabi lang nila na, ay, okay lang yan.
So ngayon po, hiningi po niya yung documents. Hiningi niya yung passport ni Lane, tsaka po ticket. And then sabi ko po, boarding pass po ang meron ako, wala pa akong ticket niya. You can even see in the video na pati siya na-surprise. Ticket? Sabi ko, opo, kasi galing po kami dito kahapon. So nagulat din siya na, galing na pala kayo dito kahapon. Sabi ko, opo, same screening, same din po lahat. Pero ang nakagulat po, wala po kayong nakita kahapon. So isa din po yun sa punto namin. Then after po noon, tinurn over po kami kay SPO Tuklarin. During that time, doon na po nila nakita na nagtitake po ako ng video. Because I have to hand it to my husband because I'm going to the desk of the airline to move our tickets. And when I gave my husband the action camera, we were not hiding it, so I handed it to him na parang normal lang po. Then, doon na po nagulat. If you will see the video, lahat po nang nandun sa video, nagulat na, may camera. Tapos makikita mo po yung body language ni Miss Maria L. Masenya. She slowly pulled away from the frame. Gumanon po siya. Na parang...
Paatras?
Apo. Tapos po, pinapatay po sa akin ni SPO Tuklarin yung camera po. Tapos sinabi niya po sa akin, burahin mo yan kung hindi mumultahan kita. I'll fine you. Sabi ko, bakit po? Sabi niya, bawal yung ginagawa mo. Then I looked around. If there's a warning inside the airport, if it says that you cannot take any videos or camera or any pictures, wala naman po. So, bilang po sa naniniwala po ako na lahat ng bawal o di dapat gawin, di po ba dapat nakapaskil doon? Warning, bawal ganito. Wala pong ganun. So sabi ko po, hindi po. Sabi ko po, low-bat yung camera, hindi na po pwede burahin. Sabi niya, kailangan burahin niya, ini-insist nila. Then nakikita ko na po yung mga faces po nila, yung reactions nila, na parang meron palang camera. So pagkatapos po nun, pumunta po ako sa Cebu Pacific Airline, inayos ko po uli kasi nung umpisa po ayaw nila i-move yung flight namin dahil po we need to pay. Bilang yung mission nga po namin, sakto lang po yung dala namin pera. So we cannot afford to pay for another flight. So pagbalik ko po sa desk, sabi po sa akin ni SPO Tuklarin, sabi niya, ayaw paaminin ng anak mo eh. Ba't hindi mo na lang paamin sa anak mo? Yun ang sabi niya. Sabi ko, wag po kayong ganyan. Bakit hindi po natin siya tanungin kung kanya po yun o hindi? Para po malaman yun totoo. Then, I translated that in English to Lane, and I said, Lane, the police officer wanted to know if that ammunition is yours. And then Lane said, the luggage is mine, but the ammunition isn't, the bullet isn't. That's what he said. Then, kahit po sa end ng video po namin, you can hear SPO Tuklarin. He was yelling at Senya, akin na nga yung dokumento, yung report po yata. I think yung nanakita sa kanya yung bullet. And he was saying, ayaw pa umamin nito eh. And then Maria L. Masenya responded with, ayaw pa umamin, di naman tayo tatanga-tangang paikot-ikot dito yung gamit sa conveyor. So you can tell with the demeanor of our airport officials, they should be our public servant. But we never have seen professionalism or courtesy with them. And pag sa Amerika po, pag ganyan, syempre po dapat po nirerespeto po namin sila kasi po sila po yung nagpapatupad ng batas sa loob ng airport na kung ano po yung dapat at di dapat gawin po. So,
continue.
Okay po. Pagkatapos po na kay SPO Tuklarin na nga po yung documents, dinala na po si Lane sa Terminal 4 PNP Aviation Office. Sa gilid lang po yun ng airport. Pero my husband, Ryan White, was still staying at the same area where the conveyor is because we have our luggages. So he has to sit down and take care of, wait for us because I have to deal with whatever's going on with Lane, and I still have to go to Cebu Pacific. So, while running around, may dumating po na another PNP officer. Hindi ko po alam kung ano yung full name niya, but all I can see is his nameplate po. And his name is PNP Officer Junio. And Mr. Junio told me, ano ba nangyari dito, ma'am? And then, so I explained to him what happened. Sabi niya, usually naman, pinapalampas namin ng mga nagdadala ng ganyan. Sinasabi namin, anting-anting. Pero dito kasi, pag inareglo natin yan dito, 30,000. Pero pag napasa na sa headquarters, 80,000 yan. Yun ang sabi niya. Sabi ko po, tapos sabi niya, ano ba trabaho ng asawa mo? Sabi ko, sir, ang trabaho po ng asawa ko, wala. Kasi po preacher po siya. Hindi po siya sinusweldohan. So, si Lord na po bahala sa amin kung ano po ang magiging finances namin. Tapos sabi niya, ganun ba? Yung anak mo, anong trabaho? Sabi ko, sir, kakaresign lang po niya kasi nga po, tutulong po siya sa amin na mag-survey nga po sa Coron. So, kailangan niyang mag-resign para lang tumulong sa tatay niya. Ganun ba? Tapos tumawag na po yung brother ko, so that conversation ended. And then I've never seen him again. Pero let me backtrack po. Bago po nila dalhin si Lane sa Terminal 4 PNP Aviation Office, pagbalik ko sa desk, he told me, what did you tell me about the 30,000?
Lane?
What did you ask? Tell them.
Press the, yeah.
He said that if I didn't pay 30,000 pesos, that I could possibly face going to jail, and that there would be an investigation done. And then which I replied, the bullet is not mine, and nor do I have $30,000. 30,000 pesos, sorry.
So, they asked you for 30,000 pesos?
Yes, sir.
Who asked you?
That was PNP officer Rolando Clarin.
Clarin.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, pagtapos po nun, tinanong ko po siya sinong humihingi ng 30,000. Sabi niya nga po yung police officer. Tapos, dun ko na po nararamdaman na bakit meron pong ganun. Kasi kapag hindi daw kami nagbigay ng 30,000, sabi daw po niya, iimbestigahan daw po siya at ikukulong siya. So, going back po tayo dun sa dumating na nga po yung OIC daw po, si PNP Junio. Nung umalis na po siya, dumating na po yung brother ko. Tapos pinuntahan po namin kung nasan si Lane, which is sa Terminal 4 Aviation PNP office. Pagdating po namin, wala na. So from Terminal 4, pumunta po ako sa Terminal 1, then that's when my brother came, Terminal 1. Nandun na po si Lane. So sa loob po ng investigation area, nakaupo po yung si Lane, tapos ako po nasa isang desk. Nandun po sa loob si Maria L. Masenya. At saka po, isang PNP officer po na hindi ko po sigurado kung ang name niya is Mr. Romy Navarro. Pero kasi wala po siyang nameplate eh. Pero ang sabi niya po sa akin, ang last name niya Navarro. Sabi niya po kay Miss Senya, may media sa labas. Sabi niya, i-interviewin ka daw. Kung ganyan, tuluyan na natin to. While I was there. Pero sinabi po nila yon sa Tagalog. So, hindi po naintindihan nila yun. And then, humarap po sa akin yung tao nga po na yun, nang sabi niya sa akin, ma'am, tuluyan mo na yung anak mo. Kasi ang anak mo, foreigner yan. Dito sa Pilipinas, kawawa ang buhay niyan, maruruwi ng buhay niyan. Kung ako sa'yo, tulungan mo na. When he said that, I was shocked. Kasi po, ano po bang tulong ang dapat kong gawin para sa stepson ko na maruruwi ng buhay daw po? At inulat niya po uli yung sinabi niya, twice na po yun sinabi. And bukod pa doon, napa-fingerprint na nga po siya, na mugshot na din. Before po kami pasakayin sa van, on the way po sa inquest, si Miss Maria L. Masenya po, she grabbed my arm in a nice way. And she said, sana ma'am, dapat po, inamin nyo na lang na inyo yan kasi buntis naman po kayo. Total, may humanitarian law naman. That's what she said. And hindi po ako nag-react kasi hindi ko alam kung ano po yung ibig na sabing humanitarian law sa buntis. I have no clue what she was talking about. But I responded to her and I said, ma'am, bakit ko naman po aaminin? I know that's the easier way out, to say that it's mine and I'm pregnant. But I told her, we are Christians. Hindi po kami pwedeng magsinungaling sa ganong maliit na bagay just to have an easy way out. So, yun po yung nangyari.
Okay. You mentioned that your original flight was postponed. So dahil doon, dinala kayo ng airline sa hotel at nag-overnight kayo sa hotel. Hindi po ba?
Yes, sir.
And bago na postpone yan, dumaan na kayo ng screening.
Yes, sir.
At nung dumaan kayo ng screening sa OTS, walang nakita.
Wala po.
Tapos pumunta kayong hotel, nag-overnight kayo sa hotel, at bumalik kayo the next day.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means, if the allegation that the bullet was put by Lane there was true, Lane should have put it that night while he was in the hotel.
Yes, sir. And they found the 22 caliber bullet that is Philippine made.
Philippine made.
Opo.
Ryan, you were saying this a while ago about they were holding the flap while they were
Sir.
bringing it across the conveyor, the X-ray machine. Could you recount that?
Yes. Well, after it had come through the conveyor for, I don't know which time it was, 6th or 7th time, Mr. Marvin Garcia was holding the outer flap open, parallel to the floor, while
So the outer flap was open parallel to the floor
Right.
while it was going through the...
well, it had already gone through the conveyor belt. It was fixed. It was at the end of the conveyor where it was
Okay.
stationary.
Okay.
But Mrs. Senya was digging through the main portion of the bag, looking, I guess, for the alleged bullet, while Mr. Garcia was just supporting the flap with nothing in it. But it's just the outer part of the bag.
Why, if he did not hold the flap, would the flap fall down to the floor, or was
Well-
the flap attached to the bag?
Well, it's attached to the bag.
That's why it's a flap, right?
It's not made out of glass, so I mean it wouldn't have shattered or anything. It's just a flap with nothing in
Okay.
it. But his hands were underneath it,
His hands were underneath the flap.
which is where the outer flap was that the bullet was found eventually.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that he inserted the bullet at that time, but it was a little curious as to why he spent so much time supporting this flap with nothing in it.
Okay. And in the video that I saw, they passed through the X-ray several times. Did they tell you the reason why?
What they told me was they were trying to find something.
They were trying to find
Yes.
something.
And then almost at the end of my video, which is the very, very last part where they put the luggage in the conveyor for how many times, that's when they called me and said, here it is. That's when they told me. But when I asked Lane, when did they show you the X-ray? He said, Lane, for how many times did they put the luggage in the conveyor before they showed you the X-ray?
About 6 or 7 times.
6 or 7 times.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now I understand you're charged in the Pasay City Regional Trial Court. And I understand the case is not going through because of what? Why did it not go through?
Because we believe that what they said was the OTS hired a private lawyer. So, of course, the judge needs to give them 10 days to submit evidence. And then after 10 days, our lawyer would have a comment after 5 days. And so they have to restudy the case. That's what they said.
And your complaint, I understand you filed a complaint with the NBI against the OTS officers and the police officers.
Yes, sir, we did file.
How did that go?
Well, our investigator said that he requested a series of CCTV and X-ray from the OTS, but they responded with a letter that yes, we would send it to you, but he has never gotten them. So our charges has not went through because there were no enough evidences. Our investigator needs the CCTV from them and the X-ray before he can file our charges. So nakahang pa po yun.
So you mean the NBI cannot investigate because the video material is still with OTS and OTS has not
yes,
yet.
sir.
Not yet. We'll get to you later. Has not yet